Okay, I'm back. This is round two because my video kept cutting out, and so I made some changes on my phone, and I'm hoping this works. Are you with me? I really hope you're with me. Oh, okay, I can see a few watching. And we were having such a good conversation about the weather. Hopefully this will work this time. Welcome everybody and happy Tuesday. I was having connection issues, and so hopefully this time around it will go a little bit better. So be patient with me. Technology, it's a bust. Um, I was talking about the weather in Utah and how it's so opposite. Like one day it can be so nice and warm outside and you're going for a walk in a short sleeve shirt, and then the next day you're back in your coat. That's typical for spring in Utah, and it gets really bad where you're opening your windows one day and you're turning on your heat the next day. It's kind of crazy. So hope all of you are doing well, and welcome to the live today. I always have something fun to share, I feel like, and so today's no different. I'm going to share a technique that I learned a really long time ago that I saw in the mini catalog that I wanted to highlight. And for lack of a better term, I don't know if there's an official name for this technique, but I call it coloring stamped images with DSP. So you're really not coloring anything. You're just using designer series paper as the color in your stamped image. And so I'm going to flip my camera around and we'll show some examples for that, okay? So I actually have some help today for moderation in questions and comments. So if you have questions, feel free to type them out in the comments section, and my friend Alexis will be here to help me gather those where appropriate so that I can answer your questions, okay? All right, let's get this party started before my phone cuts out again. Here we go. Okay, let me attach my phone. Oh, and it got moved. Okay, here we go.
Apparently the term for it is paper piecing.
Paper piecing. Okay, so you guys are teaching me something new. Paper piecing to me is a little bit different. So we'll call it a paper piecing technique. That works great for me. Or coloring your stamped images with DSP. Either one works. I love that you guys are very knowledgeable about this topic. Okay, so this one, I wanted to just point out what I'm highlighting in the mini. This particular card right here shows this technique, whether paper piecing or coloring your stamped images with designer series paper. And I think that it's worth showing. What I love to do with this particular technique is go through the catalog and highlight stamp sets that I think would work well with this technique. So that can be a treasure hunt for you later. But I've kind of done it through the catalog. I have some little flags to denote which stamp sets I think would work well with this technique. This is the project in the catalog, and this uses some designer series paper and just stamping the alligator, and you get different colors when you do that, so they can be a little bit different, and you get different textures when you're using designer series paper. But you can just go ahead and fussy cut your alligator piece without his little eyebrows to get the alligator for the card, and then you don't have to watercolor it or use any other coloring tools, just the fussy cutting. So for those of you that like to fussy cut, this is a great option. But I also wanted to point out that you can use this same technique with dies. And so let's see, we've got this stamp set. This has some open images, and so I've just paired these images with some designer series paper to color them in. So it's a totally different look, and you can also use the dies that pair with this stamp set in the bundle to cut out some other pieces to go with it. So let me show you what I mean. So I've got some of the designer series paper, and we'll cut out a little pot for the focal point of the card. We're going to create a little succulent gathering here. a little pot. Now this one doesn't even use a stamped image at all. So I know many of you use punches for this technique as well, but it's really beautiful when you pull in the stamps with some designer series paper. And these don't match up exactly, but the color and texture behind it add to the succulent. And so I've got a couple of these, and then of course stamping on the purple side. So they're not meant to work together actually, but they do work beautifully on this designer series paper so that we can create an arrangement with the dies like this. You can kind of stick the little succulent in here, and you've got some texture in the succulent, and then this little guy here, and then you can top it off with a little felt piece. But I thought it's kind of a different take, maybe a more advanced take if you're using dies, but to pair up designer series paper and your dies and your stamped images. So again, I tend to look for open images. So this can be a scavenger hunt. I'll just show you some of the ones that I've flagged in the mini catalog. So of course, with the stamp set that I just showed you, has kind of that open look, so would require maybe coloring in as it's shown in the photos, but with designer series paper, you don't need to color that in. And we've got, in my opinion, I think that the sweet strawberry is a fun one. And you can see that in this sample, they've just used cardstock with the punch, but I think designer series paper would be really cute with this image right here and the leaves and the floral. So I've marked that one. And then my catalog is coming apart. The one I just showed you, of course, with the Oh Snap, kind of the open alligator, of course. And I also think that the same could be done with the Shark Frenzy. You know, you can cut out a couple of different colors of designer series paper and have a multicolored shark there. They would be really cute. So anything with open imagery. Here's another one. This is one of my favorites to do, is when you're adding color to clothing. So, you know, where's my leopard print, right? Or something fun in designer series paper. You can use a lot of different patterns to color dresses or clothing for the Hey Girlfriend. And then notice this stamp set, the hot dog, used just color here, but you could also use designer series paper, some different texture pieces if you didn't want to color it in. So have some fun with that. Make it a scavenger hunt of sorts to see what stamp sets pair with this kind of technique. But they make the most beautiful cards and add texture and depth to your projects. Simple and fun and easy. Paper piecing, or for lack of better name, coloring your stamped images with designer series paper. So let me flip this around. Okay, simple, quick, and easy. One of those long forgotten techniques that I love to use. Actually, one of my favorite, I remember a project where I did this one of the first times, and it was a stack of gifts. And so I just used designer series paper, you know, stamped that image right in black on there, and then cut out the little boxes to create 3 gift boxes. It was a stack, and it was years ago when I did that, and I think it became a thing for me. It was like that time in my crafting experience where I used that technique a lot. So I think it just varies with styles of stamp sets, but so that's my challenge for you guys, is to look through the catalog and see what stamp sets lend themselves to this kind of paper piecing or coloring in your stamped images with designer series paper. I think paper piecing is easier to say, so thank you for the education on that. But look and see, go through and kind of flag those stamp sets that you have that would work well with this technique.
Okay, people want to know which DSP you used for these samples.
Okay, so the designer series paper that I used for the succulents is let's see, it's the Flowering Cactus refill kit. It's in the mini, so look up Flowering oh my gosh, I can't talk. Flowering cactus. And it's not even designed to go with it, really. But it's beautiful. And then for the alligator in the catalog, it's the Artistry Blooms designer series paper that was used. So it's fun to kind of mix and match. There were some samples in the annual catalog actually that pair well, and I can show you some of those. Hold on, I'll flip the camera around again. They're shown that way. So like in this particular, on page 20, like this one uses the glitter paper for the umbrella and kind of colors that in. So it's fun to have a scavenger hunt and go through the catalog. Like look here on this sample on page 23 of the annual catalog. You've got some designer series paper back here on the little lipstick and some pattern on the shoe. I'm not sure if that's designer series paper, but it could be. So have some fun. It's kind of like an I Spy game in the catalogs, and fun to pair imagery with your stamped images. Great question.
Someone also said that this is a great way to use scraps.
Oh, I love that. Okay, great suggestion. Alexis said that someone said this is a great way to use your scraps. And I think that's a brilliant idea. Keep a pile of your scraps, and when you need to add color to an image, just stamp it right on that designer series paper and you're good to go. Love that idea. Thank you. Any other questions? Today will be short and sweet, my friends. Okay, everybody, enjoy. Have a wonderful week, whether it's warm or cold where you are, and wishing you all the best. Hugs, everybody. See you next time.